Hello and welcome to Galactic Goddess Podcast. I'm your host, Rada Nelia, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Stasha Bliss, who is the Master Alchemist. And I'm so excited because today we're going to talk about breaking the Superbowl spell. Welcome, Stasha.
Thank you. Yes, let's do it.
Do it. This came about because we were just talking about the frequencies that we were feeling today, and they felt kind of, how would you describe it,
Yeah,
Stasha?
like a confusion, like there's a lot being pushed behind this Super Bowl energy today. I liked how you were saying they're just giving it all they got. Uh,
Yeah, they're giving all they got. Like it feels, I think we all are pretty aware that there's a franticness amongst beings or people who are um looking for an extra push in
Mhm.
in the spell that's been going out for quite some time. So, many of you know that these mass hypnosis things are no longer having the same effect. We're having so much more light come in. We're having a big shift in consciousness, which, as we remember who we are, we're not as susceptible to collective MK Ultra, basically. So it's a long process, and many of us have been like, feel like we're in a blender, sort of pureeing through it.
Sometimes, yeah.
So that's how it feels some days. And today's one of those days. So we're going to talk about how we can interrupt the patterning because there's like a broadcast going
Yes.
out. Stasha, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, for one thing, I mean, they're really counting on participation. Like that really is all they're counting on. So screens on, eyes on, ears on, participant, and that pretty much then anyone in ear and eye shot is a receiver of the blast. So if you're in a household where that is happening, you're definitely feeling it more. So to stand in your own and instead of receiving, to flip it around and be the emitter. I do this sometimes if I end up in a movie theater and I feel like, whoa, how much is being blasted at me? But we have the capacity to turn that around and emit also, and then we can tap that energy in the reverse. So that's a really good thought if you are in the vicinity of. But another thought really too is I find it really interesting that a lot of people who are on board with knowing what's going on in the world and are very against all these practices, but then are still happy to turn on the screen today. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
we're
I
missing something, right?
Yeah, well, there's still a disconnect. I think that the patterning is so ingrained to give into a lot of the cultural um norms, or societies, like this is this day and this is that day and this is this day and you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that. And there's still quite a bit of spell work to break out of because there's still this hypnosis going on, and even the best of us sometimes are susceptible to, because it's just ingrained. Those neurons are activated, where we want to be part of the collective, or we want to sort of join that energy. We're hoping to get something out of it. I think isn't that what people want? They want to have a good feeling, they want to connect.
They have a memory of being like my family always did
Yeah.
Super Bowl, and this is what we do, and it's carrying on like this tradition, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it actually takes some guts and some like a deeper sense of self and sovereignty to just go ahead and like cut out of that and
Mhm.
you know not need that for validation.
So true. I just like, I could feel my energy field is like, it's like protective, and even the hair is kind of trying to like
I know I can feel it around my head. Every word that I say, it's almost like battling for the space, because it's a very strong, there's an ownership over this day almost. Like it feels like it's been owned. And so as we like resist and push back against it and say no. It's like we're carving a little tunnel out of the prison spoon, and a lot of us are doing it, so it is making an impact, but there is still some work to be done there.
I could feel the claws being like, no. Yeah, even as I was about to do this, I was saying I was just setting up my desk and then I just made some warm tea and that just happened to all over the desk, as if the forces are like, no, you don't, like so there is that momentum that we're sort of like swimming upstream.
Yeah, and I did catch an earful of the halftime, not the whole thing, but the words, the demoralizing of the feminine. And so I just want to bring that in here because you and I are very much about the goddess energy, the divine feminine, bringing that, honoring that, and to really give word to that today that no, we don't stand for the demoralization of the feminine, that the divine feminine is a powerful, like honoring divine force that is the creative potential of the whole universe and is beautiful and is mother, you know?
It really
Yeah.
that is a part of the tradition. And I think people don't realize like on the halftime shows, that's when they bring out the dark priest or priestess, whoever that performer is actually performing as a priest or priestess, but in the inverted way. So it's not, they're not in alignment with the divine, so to speak. It's actually to spin everything the opposite way and to create more distortion. Um, the thing is, people don't understand the impact they have when they participate. Do you want to speak on that about how people may unknowingly, because it's very innocent to many people. So
Well, and that is how spells work, and that is how initiation works. Like you're initiated very innocently, and your innocence kind of taken away from you because without you really knowing what's going to happen, this imprint happens, right? And it's happening visually and it's happening auditorily, and it's impacting the neurons, right? You're getting an image, especially with the halftime show, you're getting an image. I mean, children are present. There's the innocence is part of it, like, and so when you watch it, you're accepting it and you're agreeing with it by not choosing to turn it off, right? So there is something about your resonant field that aligns with that, even if it's just a little bit, even if you're like, well, I don't like it, but okay, I'm just gonna hang out with it and watch it, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just, there's still, you're putting yourself in alignment with those energies. So that does take us away from an ability to access our pure, authentic self and to channel in the love light frequency that we are here to. So then there's an internal battle that has to take place in order to, like remove that programming. You and I know that work well. I mean, it's enough work to be done without just continuing to add more programs to
more
unload.
fire, more fuel to the fire. Yeah. So let's talk for a minute about maybe even like actively interrupting, right? um Such as a mantra, because you do a lot of mantra work, and there's a vibrational hum that's going out, or I wouldn't call it a hum, but there's a distorted vibrational frequency that we're currently feeling, and many of us empaths actually feel that impact. It may feel like no big deal to most people, but for me personally, I felt, yeah, I could feel it's very
Yeah, there's
disturbing.
one going out. I can kind of hear it also, being beamed or something, and it's
Yeah,
almost like the hertz is off, right? So it's in the distorted sound matrix. It's not in the one, like the alignment with our own self video. So it feels like a discordant, energy. And it made me like have to fall asleep earlier, and also like a little bit of headache. So yeah, chanting, toning in your own body is going to be helpful. So even just making ooh and ah and ee, like just to clear out your own field is going
That's
to be helpful. And also using instrument like a drum that's been created ceremonially, or you know ceremonial instruments. If you can't get your hand on one, then you can cleanse some kind of an instrument that you have and use that with intention, and feeling that sound vibration going out to clear through the space can also be helpful. But just using your own voice is very powerful.
grounding. I think I really wanted to go to the beach today, but I was drawn to go to LA, and I was like, I could feel the frequencies didn't feel aligned. So I ended up choosing to not to go. Because I think we have to be intuitive and respect our feelings,
Yeah.
when something feels that off, it's not because where we're going is off. Sometimes it's because the whole vibration is a little bit misaligned. And as empaths, again, like, we are receivers of frequencies of cosmic information, and then but also feeling the distortions. So um how we can also counter that, as you said, is, can you explain what you meant by flipping it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so obviously we have both polarities in our body. We have a positive and negative pole, so we can be active, right? We can put our energy outward, or we can be receptive, like when we're listening or we're um, using our receptive qualities. So anytime we're not really doing, like we're being a passive observer or a passive listener, we're in the receptive, like that's the feminine. And so that is the state that they want you to be in for spell casting, because the receptivity is where you just take it in and you're not thinking about it. But when you turn into an active, you can be an active observer, but you're there in your more masculine sense. You're there like, I'm here to do something, I'm here to be present with this, and it's kind of like being in warrior stance. I'm going head to head with it in a way. But then I like to visualize all of the other star seeds or other, the beings that are here all doing the same work behind you, if you will, and what energy is pouring through us. And I mean, if I look at the Superbowl arena, that looks very receptive to me. It's very much like an open portal. And so anytime there is an opening, things can come out, but they can also go in. So we can collectively imagine pouring into that portal actively the awakening, the, break spell. Like, we could even imagine it like the cauldron, where we're dropping in bits of love and remembrance and like kindness to our fellow being, and bringing balance, and just like bringing all that stuff, and knowing, like, as we do that, that we are powerful enough to affect change. And even just one person doing that is going to change the frequency, but many of us doing that is very powerful and very potent.
Well, I love that. So, yeah, just flipping the switch on it, because the broadcast is going out. So dropping in, yeah, like the awakening. Can you imagine if that frequency of awakening went into everybody's television set and they're watching, and all of a sudden they're like, you know, like, what's going on? Like, it's
Aware watching, like, I mean, ah,
you just like, wow, talk about. So, I think everything, like you said, has a polarity. So really bringing the intention, and this is where it's, I think it is nice to counter these things by doing beautiful things too, like the Conscious Life Expo and all the really great things that are high vibrational. But sometimes if you're really sensitive, you're like, I like the frequencies, I just need to sort of pull back my energy. But it's nice to do littler things that don't, that aren't bumping into so many different frequencies too.
right. And sometimes it means like you might want to sleep for something like this, but intending, hey, I'm going to do the work in the astral. I know what's going on and I'm going to go into the astral to do the work and be gentle. We don't always have to go out and fight in person. We can do a lot of work from the comfort of our home. And I think, if anything, the last few years has taught us like we are powerful on our own, tuning into that. And, like we have the whole universe inside of us. So it's really just about, I just think like every movie, it seems like, has depicted this, where the person that's, the good guy or whatever that's being held hostage, like as soon as they realize their power, like nothing can hold them anymore. It's like that moment of, wait a minute, I just didn't know how powerful I was. Like that's kind of where we're at right now, and why there's so much push behind these rituals is because there's so many of us right on edge of knowing really how powerful we are and how much we really can flip things as we step into that individually and together.
Mm.
And I love that you called me, so thank you for calling during
Yeah,
this.
I totally got the hit. I was like, I need to call Sasha. We need to talk about this right now because it's happening in real time. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to do this so that you guys all knew like that you can make a difference too in the comfort of your home, calling up a fellow starseed healer, light worker, or making that intention of infusing, dropping into that portal that they are really actually creating the good stuff, you know, the light. Imagine that portal just filling up with light, and that the light is absolutely permeating everything, and then everywhere that it's going, that light is going to. I think that's a really beautiful thing. So just if you want to take a moment and imagine all the light coming through all the television sets, and almost like that spark of remembrance, because I think that's where, like you said, it's kind of like in the movies when people remember, oh my gosh, I'm powerful. But it's through that remembering, because it's the amnesia where we forget, in that
Yeah.
spell of you're not, it's that you're nothing. That's a spell. So remembering that you're a God spark, that you're, infinite, and that you have so much to offer. You have so much inside of you that's yet to be discovered. And I hope that you will bring more light wherever you are, and however you do it, you are the light.
Right. And even just through this talking, I can already feel that field is breaking up around me. I don't know how you're feeling right
Yeah,
now.
I'm feeling much better too. I do feel, um, I notice when there's that funky energy, and then we just have these little quick conversations, that it's almost like we're alchemizing the field ASAP in real time. So there is something quite amazing to it. And it's not just a thought, or it's a thought in action, because we're putting that into action, and it's so beautiful. So I'm so grateful to have a sister like you, Stasha.
Yeah, you too. And just a reminder, sometimes when we alchemize, like that energy is very physical too. So it's totally normal to like maybe have to go take a giant shit after this, or vomit, or blow your nose, or whatever. Like that's part of transmuting the energy too. It doesn't just disappear, like it actually does go somewhere. So just take note. Sometimes we got to move it through our physical.
You gotta feel it to heal it. Oh my
Gotta
god. Yeah, yeah. Let it go. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you'd like to work with Sasha, I'll put her information below. Until next time, much love and blessings to you. Bye for now.